Hadouken!
What's good, people? How's it going? Welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here, please do subscribe down below, smash a like, hit the bell. Those things help out a lot. YouTube does notify people when we upload, so just make sure you hit that bell. Anyway guys, today we got a dope episode for you. It's all about training and pruning techniques that you need to use that can level up your yield and your overall growth. Because we all know that savvy growers know that training and pruning their prize plants is imperative for maximum yields. A lot of people go through different techniques that'll surely help or break your growth. So in today's episode, we're going to break down all that and tell you my favorite tips when it comes to maximizing my yield and just improving my overall growth. Now before we get into that guys, if you aren't supporting on Patreon, definitely join up on Patreon, man. We got a bunch of free stuff going on to everyone on Patreon, so huge thank you to everyone that's showing love on there, man. And we got a lot of stuff planned for you guys. Without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Yes guys, now plants grow naturally in a fat Christmas tree shape, with a large central cola or an apical stem on top and smaller buds at the bottom. While this is well suited for growing outdoors, a lot of people just grow outdoors and don't train their plants much at all, but it can be more helpful if you're indoors to sort of train it and maximize that canopy, especially for the lighting purposes. You got a fixed light source above, you don't have the sun, which just penetrates a lot deeper, but you get what I'm trying to say. Now a lot of people don't know this, but flowers actually create hormones called auxins, which slow down the growth of budding sites lower down the plant. Auxin is also that compound which pushes leaves to face the light source, which is pretty cool. Now the top cola is usually the largest because it's not influenced by the hormone's trickle down effect. Since there aren't any buds higher than itself, which again is known as apical dominance, it inhibits the size of the flowers developing below. So this is pretty much why in nature the top bud is usually the biggest cola and the ones lower down are just a bit smaller. Now growers can actually influence the flow of those auxins from the growth tips to the rest of the plant through pruning and training just to promote a more even canopy, bushier growth, and more uniform bud sites. Now one technique that I almost always use is topping. Topping is pretty much pinching off the top of your plant where two new shoots form in its place. But in essence, the removal of that apical growth tip from the stem allows the next two budding sites to develop even better, and it redirects those hormones to the lower branches, which allows those lower branches to grow a lot fatter and a lot further. For me, topping is something that's done best in moderation. If you overdo it and you go crazy topping, a lot of the buds can whittle down to popcorn size, which is generally not appreciated. So I try not to go crazy with the tops. I maybe do one or two, maybe a couple, but that's about it. I don't go crazy with it at all. Because once that apical dominance is broken, the growth hormones will redirect themselves anyway. And the second technique that a lot of people use, and I like to use as well, is called fimming. Fimming pretty much stands for I missed, and it's a variation on topping that involves removing just enough of the top growth on the tip to remove it without removing the entire tip. This allows for some of those lower branches to catch up with those higher branches, and well, legend has it that the technique was developed by someone attempting to pinch and not take off the entire node, hence the I missed. Now another technique is lollipopping. I love lollipopping and I do it all the time. Not all techniques rely on removing the top cola. The goal of lollipopping is actually to wind up with a bunch of large colas up top and no popcorn buds down at the bottom. So a lot of people will strip the bottom third or the bottom half of their plant depending on how frisky you're feeling. And that way the plant has no energy to waste on those smaller buds, but they can redirect it all to those top nugs up top. Now another great technique to have in the arsenal is super cropping, and that's a high stress training technique because it's high stress. Just like topping, it's also high stress. This is great because sometimes the branches get too thick and strong and you can't actually just cut it off. Maybe cutting it off, you lose too many branches, lose too many of those buds up top. So with super cropping, you're pretty much bending the stem and breaking those interior tissues, but not actually ripping the plant apart. You're pretty much just squeezing and circling it around like this, and eventually it will literally just bend over. A lot of people use super cropping as an emergency measure to correct individual branches that are growing too tall, too close to the light, or they're just too long. Now another great option, which is a lot less stressful, is low stress training. Now low stress training is similar to high stress training, but it avoids the stress and damage associated with super cropping by instead nudging the plant's growth in the desired direction. All you gotta do is pull it down, grab some string, tie it up, and pull it down. Literally, simple as that. And that allows you to expose more bud sides to the light, and all those grow out and become their own branch. Now a slightly more advanced training technique is the screen of green or scrogging. We've gone through scrogging a lot on our channel, so check those videos out. The screen of green or scrogging is pretty much a form of LST where a netting is strung in a flat horizontal surface and the branches are trained so the growth tips can all grow along that frame and be at the same height. The result is a nice flat even canopy filled with buds that are all the same size. Now guys, it doesn't matter which method or combination of methods, it all depends on what works for you. A lot of people combine a few different techniques and use something great for their setup. Some techniques may work for some people in their setup but may not work for others. So figure out what works for you and you can maximize your yields multiple times over. Now drop it in the comments down below and let me know what training techniques you use. These are just my favorite methods. There are a lot of different methods and I don't use them all the time. Sometimes I switch them up depending on my plan and my setup. So drop it in the comments. I'm always interested to find out what you guys got to say. Anyway, don't forget, join up for the iCan VIP Bean Club. We got great stuff going on to everyone on there.
This video is brought to you by Mars Hydro, where they have a variety of grow lights and grow tents for growers of all experience levels. Whether you're a small home grower or setting up a slightly bigger commercial operation, they have the tents and lights for you. They have tents for every space and need, including the new 2-in-1 tents. And they also have a wide variety of lights to choose from, including full spectrum LED and the new detachable FCE series. Links to all of the products that we use on this channel, including the Mars Hydro grow lights, are in the description below. Be sure to use the links below to support the iCan THC channel. You can also save a few bucks on the Mars Hydro website by using the code iCanTHC at checkout for store-wide savings. Don't forget to use the code and save yourself a few bucks. Now, back to the video.
And we'll see you on the next one. Stay high and stay fly. Peace.